Alright, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. The book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. It's at Amazon, Kindle, and CreateSpace. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Oh, yeah. This one's entitled Dating by Class. A lot of times when you're dating people, it's either about class or it's about proximity first, then class. So you're dating people in your neighborhood who you know, who you seen or in your area, who you can meet, or people in the environment that you where you work or around you work or around where you work or where you frequent, grocery stores, that type of thing. And normally because of that area you're in, that's also your class. So sometimes you might be, on the wrong side of the tracks or the right side of the tracks, depending on where you at. And people don't think about it. You know, usually people want to date up. So a poor person, a lower class person wants to date somebody in the middle class or upper class. Um, a middle class person wants to date somebody maybe in the middle class or a little higher up, a little higher up in the middle class or in the upper class. An upper class person probably just wants to date someone who is not as fake, because most people are, when you're upper class, people want to date you because of your class. They don't necessarily want to date you. So you're going to come into contact with a lot of different shenanigans. It's a lot of different shenanigans. So that's the problem. When you're poor, you don't want to date somebody that's poor. Ironically, puppy love when you're young, that's one thing. But a lot of people, when they become adults, they got aversions to dating somebody that's poor, even though that's your same class. I don't want to date you. You broke. Like, you broke too. Like, what makes you think somebody in the upper class is want to date you? That's where people mess up, because you got to understand, people in higher classes are accustomed to certain things, and their families are accustomed to being around certain things. So they're gonna always look at you as beneath. You're beneath their pay grade. And plus, when you're dating by class, if you're of a lower class, then if one person is higher class and one person is lower class, they're gonna have some type of tribunal to see what this lower class person brings to the table, because you could be you could be very smart and enterprising and just be of a lower class and don't have the connections that other people have, don't have the money that other people have. That's different. But most people want somebody of an upper class to basically come along and save them. And most people in the upper class, most families in the upper class ain't feeling that. They ain't feeling that at all. They didn't work to get themselves where they were at to go saving people, when they probably feel like nobody saved them. But some of these families did get saved by people in the upper class. They just won't tell you this. You find that out over time. This is why divorce has been such a big business, because there's been a lot of people who had got married from two different classes. One person brought somebody up, and then you know that person of the lower class family leached on, and wind up, say, trickle down economics, wind up living off of the come up. And then the woman who divorced the man normally took the money to take care of the family. So the males, the husband's family takes a hit. The husband takes a hit. His family takes a hit. Her family has a come up, and then now she's trying to sustain the come up, and it usually falls to pieces in maybe about 5-10 years. Depends on the amount of money that we're talking, right? I mean, 5 to 10 years is probably 5, maybe 10, but it's normally around that because when you're dating two different classes, if you pull a person up from a class, they don't necessarily have your connections, work ethic, ambitions, or skills. So they feel like the skill was to get you, and not realizing that's not a skill, you just got lucky. But it is what it is. Um, because of that situation, it makes people, especially people of the upper class, very cautious when it comes to dating. Like if you notice, um, poor families and middle class families aren't as selective as upper class families. You really like upper class families like their lifestyle, so they ain't just taking on anybody. Anybody ain't just welcome. It is what it is. Um, so you got to run through a battery test because even the young people that are getting preyed on for their money, they start to realize that, you know what, I like my car, I like this house. I'm not finna be with you or get you pregnant or marry you so you could come up here. I know it, you don't even we don't even go where you're from or where you live because you're ashamed of it. So obviously you don't want me to you're not trying to introduce me to your people because you don't like them. And if they're your people, you come from them. And if you come from them and you don't want to be around them, you don't necessarily like me because I can tell by the way you act, but you like riding this passenger side. You like being in this neighborhood. You like doing these quote unquote upper class things, right? So you're gonna have that issue. They're very selective, so people start peeping them out. People watching them when they don't think they're watching them, you know. And sometimes they make people uncomfortable because they know that they're being watched because you got to constantly prove yourself. Same thing. So normally is people probably should date in their class because um, if you're on the same level, you kind of understand the same lifestyle. You got the same pros and cons. You got the same struggles or situations. You can deal with what you got. A lot of times when you go up, you a fish out of water. Like you can't it's like taking a person with a low IQ to a dinner with geniuses, and the person with the low IQ doesn't want to admit that they're out of their league, so they'll talk to these people with high IQs, but these people are condescending or allowing this person to make a fool of themselves for their entertainment, because they're like, yeah, listen at these idiots. This is how these idiots think. We got a case study here. It's like that, but you're not, you know, you don't catch on to that's how they doing you. So when you in the upper class lifestyle thing, it goes from lower class to middle class, from middle class to upper class, from lower class to upper class. It's always there because everybody seems to be trying to get to the top group. And the problem with that is um, that group has a certain way they do things, because usually when you're trying to date upper class, you're doing it in a thirsty manner. And when you get to that, if and when you get to that upper class, or when and if you get to that to a class above you, you're trying to get everything you didn't get at your class. So now, if somebody take you to does something that's a class up, now you're gonna act like, oh, I'm accustomed to it. Everybody knows you're not. That's in that upper class. That's in that higher class. That's what I should have been saying. That higher class, but you want to act like you're so accustomed to it. And the problem with that is, this ain't your life. This ain't your lifestyle. You can't afford these things, and now you want to play entitled. You know, and this is why, when people part ways, break up, um, people have this moment where they lose their minds because, you know, the new life that they was entitled to for some odd reason is going away, and now they got to go back to their class, and it bothers the hell out of them. So it's interesting, to say the least. We out. Peace.